Hey guys, as promised, I am back with an update to my faith journey. And yes, I am still here in California on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. And let's just take a moment to thank God for the rainfall that hit California. Glory be to God for that. It was definitely needed and it was definitely an answered prayer. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this update that I have for you guys. So, of course, I have been here in California since last Saturday, not yesterday, but the Saturday prior. And then on that Sunday, I went to my sis Paula's birthday dinner. I met her amazing friends, and one of her friends, Phyllis, invited me to her women's empowerment event, which was held on yesterday, and it was called God's Girl. And she reached out to me, texted me, let me know that she would love for me to come to the event. It was a ticketed event, but that the cost to me would be free. And so I was extremely thankful and grateful to receive an invitation to that event. And I did let her know that I would be more than happy to come, of course, as long as the Lord hadn't given me instructions and told me to go elsewhere prior to then, which he didn't. And my sis Paula, she was initially she wasn't going to be able to make it because she was scheduled to be on set that day. But that morning, she got an email that that it was postponed. So we go to the event together, and that was a total surprise to Phyllis because Paula had told her she couldn't make it, and so she was ecstatic to see her. And we were just, it was great. But we get there to the event. There is a order of events. So there's a program that gives the outline to how the event is going to go. And there was a section on the program that said speaker, but in parentheses it said not for this event. So normally she has like a keynote speaker, but this time she didn't have one. And so she's doing the introduction for the event, and she's kind of like introducing everybody, and she mentions me. And then she puts me on the spot and says that, she was so inspired by my faith journey that she wanted me to be the speaker for her event yesterday. And so I'm like, I'm honored. I'm more than happy to be the speaker. But the reason why I was even more honored was because I knew in that moment that I was right where God wanted me to be. So I was so thankful and grateful for my obedience to God, because in spite of the discomfort throughout this journey, in spite of me wanting to go back home, in spite of people telling me I need to come back home, just in spite of all the things, in spite of the unpaid debts that I got back at home, and I'm just like, Lord, why do you have me out here? It was in that moment that I understood that this is part of the reason why the Lord had me to come out here to California. And so I was just pleased to know that like my obedience in this faith walk was just not in vain. And so I did what the Lord had me to do. I shared what the Lord placed on my heart, and they were definitely touched and moved by my testimony and what the Lord had me to share with them. And I just want to share with you guys that prior to me actually making it to California, the Lord had already told me that I was going to give a speech. So when I left Georgia on January 10th and I was traveling to Houston, the Lord was giving me certain signs because he speaks to me in different ways. And so one of the ways he speaks to me is through numbers, whether it's through a license plate or sometimes on signs, billboards, or whatever. So one of the numbers that he presented to me was 4377. And I looked that number up in Strong's Concordance, and this is what that number meant: to call to address, to speak to summon, to give a speech to. It also says, let me see, the act of calling out or addressing someone directly. It implies a personal and direct form of communication, often with the intention of getting the attention of the person being addressed. This term is used in contexts where a speaker is making a deliberate effort to engage with someone, often in a public or formal setting. Then it goes on to say that in the Greco-Roman world, public speaking and direct address were important aspects of communication, especially in civic and religious contexts. So once God revealed that number to me, I'm like, okay, God, like you're telling me that I'm going to be speaking, that I'm going to give a speech, which I kind of knew, like it wasn't a surprise to me because I had been investing in myself and taking one-on-one speaking training and classes with my speaker coach. And that was something I had been working on in 2024. And so that was one of my goals. And I'm like, okay, God. But I had no idea. Like, I didn't know the who, the what, the when, the how. Like, I didn't know. So to actually be all the way in California and then be given an opportunity on the spot, it was like, wow, like that's what God was communicating to me. And so I'm just like, I'm blown away by that. And it just further confirms that I'm hearing God correctly. But I think it's important to note that when you are on a faith journey, like you have to consecrate yourself. Like this whole entire time that I have been going, these past 2 weeks, I have been fasting. I have been doing the Daniel fast for most days. A few days I did like a partial day fast. But so yeah, like, you know, I'm outdoor dashing, and it's a challenge because imagine how hard it is to be outdoor dashing, delivering people food, and you fasting. Like, yeah. So, but that is the way, like that is key. Like that is how I can hear from God. That is how I can commune with him, and that's how I can draw closer to him, so that I can make sure that I'm in alignment with the Lord and in alignment with his will for my life. And so if you find yourself being on a faith journey, just know that that is important, because you know, times when I'm not consecrating myself, then I can't hear God as clearly, or a lot of times I lack an understanding, or I lack clarity. And so that is key. And trust in knowing that there's also warfare that comes along with it, because the enemy is mad. So the enemy has been big mad, because prior to, like the day before I attended this women's empowerment event, I got a phone call from my daughter, and she had gotten pulled over by the police. They had put her in handcuffs, so she was crying. She was upset in the back of their car, which thank God, like I prayed for her. Me and my sis Paula, we like just went to war praying for her, and the police ended up letting her go. And then literally as I'm giving the speech, now I'm getting phone calls from my grandson's mother. And then I realized that there was an incident that took place with my son where some of his belongings, his personal belongings, had gotten taken and so forth. So I'm like, the enemy is busy because he knows how I feel about my children. So that would just be another ploy of the enemy to get me to just abandon this assignment that the Lord has me on, so I can just rush back home to Georgia. And I'm like, I refuse. I haven't come this far, you know, to not see this thing through. And so I'm going to continue to do what the Lord is putting in my heart for me to do, to continue to be obedient, to continue to walk out this journey. And yeah, that is the update that I have for you guys. Of course, I'm continuing to pray and fast to seek further clarity, to see what what my next steps are, how much longer I'm going to be out here, what am I supposed to do in my apartment back home, what am I supposed to do about all these bills that are currently, as of today, not being paid. So I'm like, God, I just trust and believe that he's just going to make a way. And so, and with that being said, if the Lord places it on your heart to sow into me and my faith journey, then I will put the paid information on my YouTube channel in the description link. And so if you feel led to sow, and if you don't, that's totally fine. I'll thank and praise. I thank you in advance if you do, for those who do. And if you don't, then prayers is more than welcomed on this journey, just so that I can, you know, remain strong in my faith. But yep, that's what I have for you guys today. I hope and pray that if this video reaches your timeline, that it reaches you in great spirits and in great health. My name is Caressa. I love you guys, and I'll be back soon with another update.